Hey guys, Ruxbox90 here with the Q&A video that I had from a while back, one of my contests. So I thought I would upload it because I haven't done it. And some of the questions are going to become obsolete. So I'm going to do it. I'm keeping myself on a timer, and that's why I'm using this Screen-O-Matic recorder. So let's jump right in. JGSB111 asks, what do you do for a living? Well, I'm a student, so I don't really do anything for a living per se. Although I do have a part-time job that I work with. So yeah, Chippy12. What's your favorite Avison Restored card, and also what's your favorite EDH general? Those are kind of different things, but Avison Restored, Grizzlebrand, mostly because he's the card I've gotten the most use out of in EDH, and he's just a beast. My favorite EDH general, it's a good question. I really like Rafik, and I'm a huge fan of Drana. Those are the two that I built decks with, so I love them a lot. Yeah. Naga Strike, what's your favorite monocolor and your favorite color combos? Favorite monocolor is black because back in the day, black was my favorite color. The flavor of black, the whole decay, domination, draining opponents, life manipulation, all that sort of stuff I loved. So mono black. And my original Reanimator deck was mono black, although I've changed it since. My favorite color combo, probably Bant color, which is blue, green, white. Yeah, sleep deprived brain talking there. It's probably my favorite color. Those three colors in various combinations. I know black's not there, but in terms of multicolor, those are my favorite combinations. And I also love the different guilds that use those colors. The Simic Guild and the Bant Society, which is Rafik's colors. I really like those. So yeah, I just like its flavor manipulation, but also order, justice, and growth and control, and they just very strong color combinations. Afromime asks, what's your favorite hobbies you enjoy outside of Magic the Gathering? Well, I like reading novels, and I weightlift. I do powerlifting. So I know I don't look at it, I'm not one of those big buff guys, but I do it. So those are kind of main things I do. I also hang out with friends and family, of course, and um, stuff like that. Gillette Foray 8 says, what's your favorite deck in Standard? Um, Fright's deck, probably, just because I love Reanimator, and I like that some people have managed to construct a feasible Reanimator deck in Standard. Mrs. Inferno, how many cards do I own? Many, many thousands. Probably 5,000, 10,000. I don't know. I haven't kept track. BD Saxophone asks, what's your favorite general in EH? Kind of the same question. Maybe I'll elaborate. The reason I like Rafik so much is because he's versatile. He can be an aggro general, so he can be all out power, 1v1 aggro. He can also be a support unit where he can make creatures far more deadly than they're supposed to be just by existing and playing in combat. So sometimes I'll wait to play him late game, and people will spend like 2 removal spells, and I can just replay him because I have so much mana. And then he makes my scary guys really scary. So yeah, and Drawn I like because she's removal on a stick that makes her more powerful. Awesome. Skeet on My Pete says, do you think Cavernous Souls is going to destroy Control or won't be as devastating as people speculate? I think right now Standard is holding its breath, waiting to see what happens with 2013, if there are going to be Titan reprints. If there are not, and there's nothing that's crazy filling the space, then I think it'll probably be the $30-ish powerhouse for Titans that it is until they leave Standard. After that, I have no idea. I know that it's probably going to be valuable for a while because in other formats such as Modern and Legacy, it's even more powerful. I'm really hoping that certain tribal decks make comebacks in those formats because I've always loved Elf Tribal, and my brother runs Goblin Tribal, so Playset of Cavernous Souls just makes his deck really strong against Control. So I don't think it's going to be as dangerous as people expect, but I think in the future you're going to see it either skyrocket and be insane or not. So we'll have to see. Gaza4589, what's your favorite card of all time? Out of every card, doesn't have to be best card, just your favorite. That's a really hard question because I also look at cards for flavor, for style, for art, for abilities, for a number of different things. I I don't have a direct answer. I really love Phyrexian Obliterator probably has a standalone card that has never been reprinted. It's a fairly new card. That's probably one of my favorites because just the art, the quote on it, everything about it spells awesome flavor. And if it wasn't for Dismember, it would have been a real beater in mono black or blue black control. Even though it still is really expensive and awesome, it just shows you gives you an idea that it's that expensive when there aren't many decks that can use it feasibly. It's just so awesome. Everyone wants to have one. That's probably one of my favorite cards of all time. Otherwise, yeah, I'm just going to go with that one. That's a question that is probably going to come back to bite me later on, and I will think more about it in the future. Headlines MTG 111 says, what do you think the meta is going to be like post Avacyn Restored? I think we're going to see a resurgence in Titans because of Cavern of Souls, particularly Primeval Titan Kessig Wolfrun combinations, green red aggro. I think is going to be pretty big. Obviously, tokens are going to be really powerful, and blue white control. Blue black control seems to have suffered a little bit, and a lot of the cards related to it have dropped. I guess it's not seeing as much play. So for a little while it'll be like that. Ravnica is going to throw everything into a loop because Ravnica is multicolor, and it hasn't been big multicolor in Standard for a while. I think that's why Sigarda is going to be post the return to Ravnica. I think it's going to be a really monster card, even though it's already a good card. But I think it's going to be even better. Double X Anime Sam Double X. What's your favorite deck you've ever built? Probably my Rafik deck in terms of EDH, because I've just poured so much love into that deck, and I've really worked very, very hard on it to make it as good as it can be, and I'm still working on it, of course. My favorite regular deck was probably my Legacy Reanimator deck. I didn't go the classic blue-black combination because I felt it was kind of generic, and it also costs so much money. You need a playset of Force of Wills, and you need a playset of Polluted Deltas. You need all this stuff that's very expensive. Whereas if you go the Bloodstained Mire, Graven Cairn route, the mana base is not expensive, and if you go really just speed Reanimator, which is what I did, then it's what it is. So that deck I love a lot. It's obviously casual, but it's built with a legacy style, so that's probably my favorite deck. 133 Darkness. What is your favorite Planeswalker and why? Nicol Bolas would be the answer on the tip of my tongue because Nicol Bolas is just awesome. I'd like to at some point, maybe I'll do in my card a day for Nicol Bolas, I'll give some backstory to him as to why he's so crazy awesome. Maybe like a very short history, but we'll see what goes on with that. So Nicol Bolas would be one of my bets, but honestly I like Venser a lot. He's in my Rafik deck, and I really just love the versatility that his abilities offer. Some of the other Planeswalkers are kind of just generic, like, oh, okay, it untaps lands, or it makes guys, or it searches for something. But Venser is like, I like that he has flicker on him, and his ultimate is just awesome. I don't know, I really love Venser's flavor. Molly Danisock says, do you play Legacy? No, not, maybe a casual-ish Legacy, but there's no real Legacy around where I am. What's your favorite deck in any format, if any? In the format, sorry. So in Legacy format, probably High Tide. I would never want to run it or play against it, but I think it's a really, really interesting build. Mr. Yoshi 596, what do you think is the best booster pack? I like the white. I like the white of Avacyn Restored more than I do the dark stuff of Innistrad and Dark Ascension. So, yep. Josh Roth 89, what was the main reason you started playing Magic? Of all the cards they've released over the years, which is your favorite art and why? Another question that's going to require thought on my part. The main reason I started playing Magic because my cousin played Magic, and he started me when I was like 8, 9 years old. He showed us the game. He'd been playing for a while, and he had some really cool old cards. He still does, in fact. And he came over one weekend, and he brought some decks, and we started playing, and I fell in love with it. So for my birthday, I ended up buying some starter stuff from 7th edition, and then went from there into Nation, and the rest is history. Of all the cards you've released, what's your favorite art? Most of my collection cards are because of the art, not because of the cards themselves. Phyrexian Obliterator, though, I really love. Sorry, I got cut off by the door. So Phyrexian Obliterator is one of my favorite arts of all time. I think it's phenomenal. I also love the Chroma Angel of Wrath Dual Decks Edition artwork. It's just brilliant, brilliant, brilliant artwork. Artwork changes for me all the time, and there's too many arts for me to appreciate, so it's another question I'll come back to in the future. Kivioke 1000, what's about EDH that has you captivated? All the formats are awesome, but why EDH is the ability to use different cards. Is that what does it, or the format? I like the artistic aspect of EDH, that there's really no one-step formula to the best deck. And, I mean, you can just copy-paste from many of the pros, and you'll have a really good deck. EDH, it's very, very hard to just copy-paste the better decks because they require a lot of playthrough and a lot of testing and a lot of deep understanding of the deck, true understanding of the deck. If anything, I would use a standard equivalent of the Miracle deck because it's really not an easy deck to play. So something like that, except on a huge scale. My tongue's dripping. So that's what I really love about it. I love trying to build this deck, build a deck and fight against it, essentially. Try things, try new cards, show new cards. Cards from new sets end up affecting. I have to find room for them. I need to play out. I need to test against all different types of decks. I really just love that, the versatility of the entire format. It's like, it's Legacy on steroids is what it is. And I have always been a tinkerer of that sort of thing. So that's the main reason. JSMTG314, if you're snowboarding on the beach and all four wheels fall off, how many pancakes does it take to cover a doghouse? Well, it depends. Is the snowboard African or European? Osman 1, what's your least favorite EDH and most favorite EDH generals to play against? Least favorites? Well, any of the broken generals, but among the meta guys in my meta, Momer Vig, just because in 1v1 it's like the most aggravating deck you can possibly play against. If you don't get set up and win by turn 4 or 5, he ends up just owning the game, and I hate that deck. Most favorite EDH generals? Most of them. Generals that aren't aggravating to play against. Generals that don't lock down the board, stacks things. I mean, anything. I like to play EDH, so it doesn't really matter. Mike's Ultimatum, what are your top 5 favorite sets? Well, block-wise, sets, block is kind of mush. Onslaught, Zendikar, Time Spiral, I love those all. I love Mercedes Mask, the set. The Invasion block is phenomenal. Tempest from way back in the day. Yeah, it's hard to pin down, actually, which exact set. But those are probably off the top of my head, sort of my favorites. Lightning Bolt, I forget his name. Lightning Bolt something. Do you have a favorite card from when you started that you realize is bad? Not bad. Thorn Elemental. I got the foil one from the intro promo 7th edition thing, and it was kind of, it's a good card, but then they made Tornado Elemental, which is almost strictly just a better card. So it's kind of average now, but I always thought that was so epic. So yeah, there you go. Mr. Beastly Biscuit, what was the first deck you remember building or first product MTG you bought? That intro pack thing from 7th edition is the first thing I bought. The first deck I remember building, maybe an elf deck. I don't remember, it's been a while. Pyro Mystico, what card would you design and why? That's a tough question. I don't know, something to make Reanimator better against counter magic, that it doesn't get shut down really quickly. But I have to think about that question. So come back to me next Q&A. 314 Stargazer, favorite green fatty? Good question. Vigor's pretty cool. Vigor, I think. Vigor. Mr. Tyler Pearl, do you have a favorite sleeve brand of choice? I use Player's Choice. I don't know what the exact sleeve. I think it's the sleeve type brand. I don't know. I like certain Ultra Pro things, but they've burned me in the past, so that's probably my favorite. Skynder 613, what's the favorite book in the unfortunate ended MTG novel line? I'm going to say The Brothers' War. I just think it's the best written, the best self-contained story. It's absolutely phenomenal. Go check it out. I'm going to hopefully have a discussion about it at some point with Robert Brizendine. So maybe future. Celestis 22, do you prefer constructed or limited? Constructed. I'm just not very good at limited or draft. Anyway, guys, thanks for all these great questions. Any of the ones I couldn't really answer, come back in the future when I have more Q&As, and I'll try to get back to them. Thanks for watching, guys. Roxabox 90 out.